Welcome to Resource Intelligence inSITE Report. We're here in Arizona at American Manganese's Artillery Peak project to investigate what Time magazine once called America's #1 strategic metal. And we've been invited by American Manganese to come here and research their project and determine the viability of them becoming the first and only electrolytic manganese producer in the United States. Before heading down to the project, we took the time to speak with Larry Reaugh, the president and CEO of American Manganese, about the progress the company has made and its plans for production by 2014. You're moving the project forward. You've started a drill program and you're still doing a pre-feasibility study.
That's right. Wardrop are working on the pre-feasibility study. The drill program started on April the 20th.
The pre-feasibility study is ongoing. When do you expect it out by?
Probably the end of September, sometime in September. The pilot plant testing we expect to have again early September. And the pre-feasibility needs some of those results to scale up for their costs.
Everything going according to plan, when would you hope to be in production by?
Mid-2014.
To get the project into production by 2014, the pace has to be pretty hectic, starting with a large drill program in 2011. I asked James Marin, who is the VP of Operations for American Manganese, to describe the program.
We're drilling the eastern side of Manganese Mesa. We'll probably have anywhere from 45 to 50 drill holes. The scope of the project is 20,000 feet of reverse circulation drilling.
Watching Jim get the job done at Artillery Peak was an education in itself. Managing a project of this size and scope is complicated stuff. There's staff to manage, site construction to organize, and a huge drill program to stay on top of are just a few of the things that are ongoing. Once on site, Jim handed me off to the project's qualified person who explained the drill program in greater detail.
This drill program is designed to decrease the drill spacing, whereby I can recategorize the inferred resource to an indicated resource and increase our overall indicated resource numbers to in excess of 200 million tons.
And if you can increase that total resource size to over 200 million tons, that would increase your throughput from the original stated 3,500 tons per day to what?
This would allow us to redesign and expand our plant to allow a throughput of 10, 20, or 30,000 tons a day, depending on the reception of the market for our product.
Not many investors are aware of it, but manganese is the 4th most produced metal in the world. It's absolutely vital and irreplaceable. Without it, there would be no steel, no aluminum alloys, no cell phones or cars the way they're made today. That makes a large manganese deposit like Artillery Peak particularly interesting. And when I say large, I mean really, really big. I asked James Marin to describe the size of the project.
Well, this is a fairly sizable property consisting of about 55 fee simple parcels, which comprise about 3,000 acres, and about 254 unpatented mining claims comprising about another 6,000 acres. So it's a sizable property, and most of the property has manganese showings, either outcropping or subcropping.
And how much of that has been explored already? How much has been drilled?
The surface stuff that we have known is there, I'd say, probably about 20%, 30%.
20 to 30% of the project has been drilled by the company in order to prove up a multi-billion-pound resource, and there's still 70 to 80% of the project with visible mineralization left for upside. American Manganese's 2010 drill program increased resources by 45% to 6.69 billion pounds indicated, plus another 8.9 billion pounds inferred manganese. What you've got to remember about this world-class deposit is that it will produce electrolytic manganese, or EMM, for as low as 44 cents a pound. Recent 2011 prices for the metal are about $1.87 per pound, so the potential for profit is very real here. And here's the crunch about the Artillery Peak project. 97% of all EMM manganese is produced in China, and according to the Manganese Metal Company of South Africa, demand for EMM grew 26% per year between 2003 and 2009. So we just drove down from the other side of the mountain here around this 80-foot wall of manganese ore, and one of the things that stands out about this project, keeps it very low cost, is the brittle nature, or friable nature, as Norm said to me. You can really just pull it apart without any real effort at all. Norm, why don't you explain how that happened first?
Oh, well, it's the rock is made up of grains of volcanic ash and have remained fairly soft through their history.
Right, and that does a lot for the costs. Jim, explain the operating nature of that for us.
Well, because you don't have to blast it, heavy equipment with heavy rippers can just about rip this deposit. So that really minimizes the overhead on the mining cost, because the labor involved and the costs involved of getting the material so soft and friable, it just rips right out.
So we've got low operating costs all the way through the project, from the moment you pull it out of the ground to the moment you process it.
That's
right?
correct.
In order to take advantage of the nature of the ore at Artillery Peak, American Manganese had Cametco Research out of Canada develop a new, patent-pending, ultra-low-cost process for producing manganese. Norm explained the upside.
This project will be extremely profitable. This will be a bonanza grade project. You could equate that to a gold property, for instance. The grade would be about 3 grams gold to match the value in the ground of the manganese we have here.
As we headed north along the project, we could see manganese outcropping and old artisanal mine workings all along the way. Norm pointed out the vents that actually deposited this vast blanket of manganese here millions of years ago, and then Jim stopped our caravan to demonstrate the extent of the mineralization.
Well, I think this is a pretty good overview of this part of the property, what we call North Chapin. Behind me, about 2 miles to the north, is where we get a lot of the old 50s digs and showings and prospects. And you can see all the way from that point heading to the south, we're coming into this bed. This is what we call Cobweb Hill over here, and that's about 80 or 90 feet worth of bedding. And you can see it continues to the south, hooks up with the over by the McGregor pit, and then it extends to the west for maybe a mile or so.
The ore at Artillery Peak is ideally suited for EMM. It also appears to be ideally suited for electrolytic manganese dioxide, or EMD. After huge successes developing ultra-low-cost EMM production, American Manganese has contracted Cametco Research again to produce EMD for use in new high-tech batteries. Larry Reaugh explains.
Most economic battery, the lightest battery, one with the longest life, quickest recharge, is the lithium manganese oxide battery. So we can make EMD as well as EMM, and with the lithium we should be able to make a powder, so we've commissioned Cametco to do that.
Okay, so Cametco has already developed very low-cost electrolytic manganese process for you. How long will it take them to come up with something that's saleable here?
I imagine that'll be sometime this summer that they'll come up with the final product. It'll be in conjunction with the pilot plant testing they started in February.
What's the potential value for American Manganese in terms of this new battery technology?
The battery technology is much the same as to produce the EMD for it. It's much the same as producing the EMM. There's some tweaking to do. We produce that. We could purchase off the shelf the lithium, which is the smallest component of a lithium manganese battery. We estimate the cost at, say, 40 cents a pound. So you add the two together, you're somewhere around $1 a pound, and then the process for making the powder, another $1 or $2 a pound. And the resulting product, the lithium manganese oxide battery powder, sells for $8 to $9 a pound.
Right, so there's a potential for something like $6 a pound in profit here. And that's what Cametco you've hired to do some research on this.
That's right. This is the value-added part of our project.
So we've had a huge day here at American Manganese's Artillery Peak project. It's a hell of a manganese deposit. What we know is that this is a past producer. It's got excellent infrastructure. There's a huge resource that's open in multiple directions. Strong economics, and particularly important here, are low operating costs of 44 cents a pound. And that's largely because of the kind of rock, brittle, and the low-cost process that the company has come up with Cametco. The management team here is excellent with years and years of experience, and they know what they're doing. What we've got is a metal, manganese, with fantastic fundamentals, not just today growing 26% per year, but also into the future. The company will be expanding this, they've got tons of room left to to grow and drill elsewhere on the project. And of course, very importantly for a project like this is the environmental aspect of it. Not just the above ground, being able to reclaim the project after it's finished mining, but also the during the mining process and not having a huge footprint on the project. So what does all this mean? This means that the project is one that's got a lot going for it. All the things that investors typically look at seem to be pointing in the right direction. So down the road, when American Manganese does look for financing to move this to the next stage, after the pilot plant is complete, after the feasibility study is done, I think we can look forward to some strong answers from investors on moving this to the stage of production.